a disease that about 21,000 people live with, and about 50,000 family and friends take care of them when they do. The Walk to End Alzheimer's provides support for everyone dealing with this illness. The walk returned to Zoo, Montana after weather forced it indoors to the mall last year, and an estimated 1,400 people participated this Sunday. This year's walk raised a record amount, raising almost $200,000. Raising awareness for Alzheimer's is important. The more the walk grows and people are informed, the more awareness is raised.
People are learning that Alzheimer's and related dementias is not something that people need to deal with alone. They shouldn't try to deal with it alone. It's too challenging, it's too demanding. Probably in the top 200 biggest walks in the nation. This is the biggest walk that Montana has ever seen. The Alzheimer's Association is here to provide care and support for families and individuals. We're going to be able to extend the reach of our services and supports to the growing number in need.
And there are 6 of these Alzheimer walks in the state throughout the year, and next weekend there will be one in Missoula. Veterans and their families enjoy support from the American Legion, and this weekend they celebrated 100 years. American Legion Post 4 on Broadwater Avenue started in 1919. Veterans and Legion leaders talked about the organization's accomplishments on Saturday. Many of the families have donated service men and women's uniforms, and the Legion displayed memorabilia from 1919 to the present.
It emulates of what they went through in times, because you can read some of their old letters and see their pictures that they drew and how much they missed home and like things that they were unable to, like they don't have a cell phone, they can't call, so they had to handwrite letters. It's pretty special. It's part of our history, Montana, the American Legion. It's important to share with our community to understand that a lot of these things are going away, and we would just like to keep it, still keep it going.
The American Legion and Post 4 both started in 1919, and there are 13,000 Legion posts around the world. Well, turning now to weather with Rob Griggs, and 'tis the pumpkin spice latte season finally tomorrow.
Yeah, yes it is. I guess we have to see the point. Pumpkin pie season, a couple months away still, but yeah, tomorrow is the first day of autumn, and obviously, Zoe, we're thinking, so what does that mean? I mean, summer was a beautiful day today. Tomorrow is going to be even nicer, and across most of the central and western United States, a beautiful evening in front of us here. We've got some thunderstorms ranging all the way from Missouri up toward Illinois, Indiana, Michigan right now. As we look in a little bit closer, that is not a hurricane developing over Missoula right there. Do not panic. That's a little something we call ground effect clutter. It's just a radar anomaly. So, no hurricanes being named there. Reported high temperatures today as cool as 66 in Cody, and looks like Havre was 76 degrees. But I've got some good news about the first day of autumn Monday. That's coming up in the forecast in just a bit. Zoe?
All right. Thank you, Rob. Well, it was kind of a surprise when the staff at the Buffalo Bill Center of the West in Cody, Wyoming, heard that Kanye West wanted to rent out the Powwow Garden. Kanye and his wife Kim Kardashian bought land near Cody earlier this month, and today the 21-time Grammy-nominated artist performed a free Sunday service, and Q2's Mitch Laggy was there.
I'm standing outside the Powwow Garden here in Cody, Wyoming, where just a few hours ago, thousands of people turned out from as far away as Washington and Utah to see Kanye West and his 80-person choral group perform what he has been calling a Sunday service. People got treated to some gospel renditions of some of West's hits, including Father Stretch My Hands and Lost in the World. Take a listen. Kanye, his choir, and band played around 14 songs for about an hour. People gathered on the berm of the garden to take it all in. The service is something a bit different from what the people in Cody are used to.
It was really cool for them to get a taste of something different, from a different place, something that's not necessarily quintessential Old West or Wyoming. And I think people were very surprised and very, very uplifted by the performance.
Altos, testify.
Kanye yielded the stage to his choir director for the majority of the service. Midway through the performance, the director mentioned how the group wants to share the love of Christ through music.
I mean, I think it really shows what he's trying to do. You know, I feel like he's showing that it's not about him. It's about bringing people together and bringing people closer to God.
Featherston got on the road with his friends at 2 a.m. to make it to Cody from the Salt Lake City area.
I mean, I'd seen like videos online and everything like that, so I kind of knew a little bit of what was going to happen, but honestly, it exceeded all expectations.
After the service, things in Cody largely returned to normal after people left the powwow garden. In Cody, Wyoming, Mitch Laggy, MTN News.
Thank you, Mitch. And I wonder if we'll hear more from Kanye since his purchase of that home near Cody, or maybe we'll hear more. Well, September is National Recovery Month across the country, and MTN's Gabby Crevitt reports on local efforts to combat addiction.
Paul Churchill was blacking out around 5 days a week when he was in his early 20s.
I found that alcohol was leading me down a pathway that I didn't want to go down.
Now he's 5 years sober.
I had to learn firsthand of how to quit drinking and what addiction entails.
Today, Paul is dedicated to helping those struggling with alcoholism and substance abuse. And while he lives in Bozeman, his words of encouragement are reaching people around the world.
And yeah, I want to talk to you guys about some concepts in early sobriety.
He hosts the podcast Recovery Elevator, which has thousands of listeners and its own community.
This is a collaborative healing effort. It takes everyone involved to move forward in life without alcohol, without drugs, without opiates.
He also just wrote a book that has a curse word in the title that we can't say on air.
The podcast, the book, is all about what I've learned on this journey of how to depart from alcohol. But what I've learned that alcohol is kind of just the beginning. It's all about going internal and looking about, what alcohol was perhaps covering up.
According to the Montana Department of Justice, 1 in every 10 residents in Gallatin County is dependent or actively abusing alcohol or drugs. The Fellowship Hall in Bozeman houses programs aimed at preventing and treating different kinds of addiction.
We have this permanent resource in the Gallatin Valley for people who are struggling with addiction. So there's always a place to go 365 days a year for anybody who might be needing that resource or might be feeling really isolated and feeling like they want to try a life in recovery.
Fellowship Hall in Bozeman opens its doors to anybody interested in removing addiction from their life. There are 50 meetings that take place every week and around 900 visitors that stop by, all working towards a similar goal.
There is a sobriety community hundreds deep in Bozeman. Hundreds and hundreds of people have successfully departed from alcohol or other addictions. And the Fellowship Hall is a hub where this healing can take place.
In Bozeman, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Thank you, Gabby. And she says Fellowship Hall has been providing a space to help people fight addiction since 2011, and they're one of the places for support. You can visit our website to learn more about their meetings or how you can make a donation. Well, stay with us. More to come on the 10 o'clock news. After the break, meet a Montana cattleman urging others to use Twitter as a platform to voice their opinion when it comes to sending a message to President Trump. Find out what that message is in this week's Montana Ag Network coming up. And we hear from Scott in sports, where he talks Frontier Conference, some Cat Grizz Rocky football coming up.
You're watching MTN News with Zoe Zandora, Storm Tracker weather with Rob Griggs, and sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.